You once told me about your first art show and the outcome and what came of what your thoughts and inspirations and desires were going into the show and what you walked out of the show feeling and how it prompted you in another direction. Can you share that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just drove by there the other day and picked up some more of those little pieces of bark. So the story is really interesting. I went back to school to finish my degree, and as part of the challenge was, enter a fine art painting into a local art show. And the Springville Art City Museum is kind of famous for their spring salon. And I decided to enter a painting and it was rejected. And so while I was there picking up my art piece, it was first time in and first big rejection, I was walking out the door and there were some of my professors from the university, and they were also picking up their rejections. And they've been accepted before many, many times in the past. And it's just a very difficult show to get accepted. There's usually over 1,000, entries, and they'll pick 200 because that's the space they have at the museum. They can't really take more than that. And then they kind of get a theme going. They see what comes in and they choose that. And so mine did not fit the theme. And as a brand new artist, just fledgling, just not quite up to par with an oil painting, right? So out the door we go, and we all have our pieces of art with us. And one of the professors says, Gina, don't be discouraged. You're one of the very few artists that's actually making money with your art. And so I kind of took that to heart. But as we were walking along, I noticed underneath one of these huge sycamore trees what looked like someone had dumped out a jigsaw puzzle on the ground. And I thought, that's just really interesting. I literally thought it was a puzzle. And I walked over to it and set my painting down in the grass. The museum's got gloves on. They're just so, I'm like, here's the painting. They leaned against the tree and literally picked up that and realized it was bark and looked at that whole tree and how the puzzle pieces of bark, just literally just always shed. And so they do look like, a puzzle piece on the ground. And as I picked that up, the thought came to me, what about all the other art outside the museum? What about all the art that goes out into the world, and how much I loved puzzles as a child? And I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start creating art for puzzles. And I totally dove into that. So I haven't looked back. I haven't entered any more pieces in the art show, but I have quite a few art pieces now licensed for puzzles. So
I found so glad that you did not succeed at that art show, if you will. It brought the world your products.
Yeah. Well, and now I think thousands and thousands of people can see my thousands of pieces of puzzles. Right. Instead of
for a reason.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I actually really love it. I'm always thinking about my next puzzle and what I'm going to do.